guys, welcome back to the game room. It's fall, and fall means the harvest, and in today's game, harvesting means the Fall Harvest Festival, which involves lanterns. Lanterns is a 2 to 4 player tile laying game from Foxtrot Games, and it has an element of set collection where you're trying to collect lanterns to make the best tribute at the Harvest Festival. It's a really pretty game. Although these are prototype components, the artwork is fairly final as far as the tiles are concerned, and it looks really nice. Let me show you how the game is played, and I'll give you my opinion at the end. Lantern starts out with the center tile in play, and the placement of the players actually will make a difference as to the rest of the game. One player sits on this side, this side, this side, and this side, and depending on the direction of tiles that are laid out subsequently, they'll be getting different types of resources. You'll be gaining these lantern tiles, which are going to be essentially the sets that you're going to be collecting. And the way you do that is, at first at the beginning of the game, you'll be gaining whatever resource you have here. So let's say I'm sitting on this side, which I am, the red side. At the beginning of the game, I'll be gaining a red lantern. So I'll be able to collect that to my collection back here. Now, in subsequent turns, everyone has 3 tiles in their hand, and I will be able to take one of these tiles and play it out of my hand. There's 3 different things you can do in your turn, but this is the one that you're going to be doing most often because it's the one that's mandatory. So what I'll do is essentially select a spot to play one of my tiles and be collecting resources based on those tiles. So in this case, we do have a few options here, but we do have a limited number of matching colors. So as you can see, each one of these has a few different options. We have the purple pinkish type here on both sides. We have black on this side and green on this one. And it also has a platform. These platforms, if you match up a color on one of the sides, it'll give you a special token. We'll get into that in a minute. So over here, we do have one matching color. We have blue. And over here, we also have another one that's also blue. So what we're going to do, we're just going to select one of these. These are very similar. So let's go ahead and select this. So we'll play that tile out. Now this has a few implications for us. First off, on the tile that we play, everyone is going to gain a resource based on the color that's aiming towards them. So let's say I play this tile here. I would gain this color here, which is this pink again. I'll gain that lantern. The person to my right, whoever's aiming this direction, is going to gain a green lantern. The person to the north here is going to gain another one of those. And the person to this side is going to gain a blue. Now, since we matched the color here, we'll also be gaining another lantern. Whenever you match a color, for every matching side, you'll gain that color. So we would gain a blue lantern for matching those. So we gain a total of 2 lanterns. Our opponents would gain 1. So matching colors is obviously a big boon for us. Now, after that, we would be drawing a tile and continuing to the next person. Now, what are we exactly trying to do here? So, the actual goal of the game is using these lanterns that we're collecting. We're going to actually be trading these in to score sets. There's a few different sets that you can score. Those will be including a few different varying point costs as well. There are 7 different types of lantern colors in the game that you can gain from those tiles. And there's a few different scoring methods. The 3 different scoring methods up here are 4 of a kind, 3 pairs, and 1 of each type. And as you can see, the scores will actually increase as you go up. The 4 of a kind is usually the easiest to get, requires the least resources, only 4 lantern cards, but 4 of the same color, but is only worth 8 points, and they'll be descending as later players will gain those. So the first person to get 4 of a kind is going to get more points. Same here with the pairs. It takes less resources, only 6 cards. You have to have a pair of 3 different colors. So, and that'll decrease as well again. And then, of course, the 1 of each different color, the hardest to get, it requires the most resources, 7 cards of varying colors, and that will, again, decrease as you go down the stack. Now, you'll be collecting these lanterns throughout the game, and these lantern stacks can run out. The points, however, cannot. So if you ever get down to the very bottom, where the last person takes the 4 of a kind, you'll continue to score with kind of generic tokens for those, but it kind of caps out at 4, so you're not going to be gaining a lot of points from that. However, if everyone takes a red tile or red lanterns out of here and they're not putting them back by cashing them in essentially during your turn, you may not have an opportunity. So somebody might play this red tile aimed towards you, you might not be able to gather that because there's no red lanterns left. So that's also an interesting blocking mechanism in this game, because every time you play a tile, you're going to be giving your opponents resources. The key is to make sure you're getting more resources than them and better resources than them by blocking them out. One element of luck mitigation in this game, and there is a bit of luck because you're only having 3 tiles at a time and you might just not be able to control your own resources, but a way to get around that are through platforms. And those are from these tiles here. They have this little marking in the middle. And when you play these and match up colors, you'll be gaining what are called favor tokens, which just tiddlywinks in the prototype here. But favor tokens, every time you match a platform with a color, you'll be getting 1 favor token per platform you match. So in this case, we'd get our normal resources. We'd get a red for matching a red. We'd get a red because that's aiming at us. And we'd also get this favor token. And during a turn, we can spend 2 favor tokens to turn a lantern of one color into a lantern of an available other color. So let's say we were trying to get 7 of a kind and we had 2 blues, but we were missing a pink for some reason. So we could trade in one of these, we could switch one of these blues out, take 2 of these tokens and cash them out, and we could change it into a pink and score that as a 7 of a kind. Now, again, as with all these other components, everything in this game kind of can chain together if it's set up correctly. So we could have this setup here, which would allow for kind of a combo here. So if we have 2 platforms like this, and let's say our player decides they want to match up 2 corners, we go like that, bingo bango. Even though we didn't play a platform, as long as we're matching colors on a platform, we're going to get those tokens. So if we played it, so if our turn comes around, we play this, just to give you a rundown of what all the things we'd get. We'd match a red here, so we'd gain a red lantern. We'd match a green there, so we gain a green lantern. We have a that's a black aiming towards us, so we'd get a black lantern. And we have matched colors on 2 different platforms, so we'd get 2 different tribute tokens or favor tokens. So that's quite a bit for one play, and it's probably not the most common of plays, but it kind of gives you an idea how this game can combo out if the cards align and you don't block your opponents out. So that's kind of the rundown of lanterns. There's really not a lot to it. It's just a matter of drawing tiles, playing tiles, cashing in your sets. But you really have to look at not only what you're gaining, but what you're giving your opponents. You have to make sure every time you play a tile that you are getting a bigger advantage out of that tile than your opponents are, and ways, of course, which resource you're going to go for. You're going to go for the 7 of a kind, you're going to go for the 4 of a kind, you're going to go for 3 pairs, and determine, can I get there before my opponent so I get the higher score. There's definitely a little bit of gamery going on, a lot of blocking, a lot of tabling, essentially, where you're trying to block your opponents. Can get kind of nasty in that regard, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I kind of like that aspect of it. So that's the game Lanterns. Let me take you to my final opinions.
So guys, that is Lanterns from Foxtrot Games. Now, this isn't a very hard game, to be honest. It's pretty easy to learn and teach, but the one concept that I think takes a little bit to catch on is the blocking. So in this game, you're collecting sets of cards. It's fairly simple. You're playing a tile, you draw a tile, play a tile. That's pretty easy to grasp. You know, if you make color matches, you get bonuses like the extra tokens or additional lanterns, which is, again, easy to grasp. But what you have to look at isn't necessarily what you're getting all the time, it's what you're giving your opponents. And I like that concept. I like that the actual seating at the table matters to a degree, because it depends on what your opponents are going to get, and you have to really look at that. I know the first couple of times I played this game, I was doing what I felt was okay because I was gathering tons of lanterns, but I was also enabling my opponents to get a lot of lanterns themselves, and the lanterns in colors that they needed. Sometimes running lanterns out of the lantern stacks out intentionally, denying someone that color completely, is what you need to do, and that can happen. We've had it where we've had one person needed a white lantern and they just couldn't get it. There was none left to get. You're kind of hoarding them to a degree, so that's interesting. I like that you can kind of mitigate the kind of luck, the fact that you're drawing random tiles off the top by getting the tokens that let you change your lantern type to a different color. So again, there's a lot of ways around that. There's a lot of interesting strategy in this. It's not a brain burner, but it can develop a little bit of analysis paralysis, so that is something to watch out for. But even when we were learning it for the first time and really thinking about our moves, it didn't take super long. It was probably like 45 minutes tops. It's a really easy game, really quick game, and I really enjoyed it. It's a fun tile laying game. I like tile laying games. I'm already predisposed to those. And I like the set collection in the game. It's, again, not too difficult to learn, pretty easy to teach. It got beautiful artwork. I hope, like I said, I think these are the final images, at least for the tiles part of it. There might be some modification, but it's a really nice looking game on the tabletop, which is a huge bonus, and I just really enjoyed it. I like the Asian themes. I'm again predisposed to Asian themes in games, so it's a really cool game. I definitely recommend backing it. I will throw the link in the description below and up here in the annotation, and you can check that out as you wish.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed that preview for Lanterns. It's a pretty fun little tile laying game. As always, you can check out our social media in the description below. It's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, all that good stuff. If you're interested in backing us monetarily, we have a Patreon as well. And as always, you can subscribe up here or in the description below for even more content. We're always putting up new videos, reviews, previews, and other things here. And we'd love you to check them out if you could. We definitely appreciate it. As always, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time in the game room.